How to put on shoes before socks. Xiefeng. February 12, 2022. Yesterday, a netizen asked me how to put on shoes before socks. Since I didn't have time to respond yesterday, I am writing this article to answer today. Putting on shoes before socks is the fifth item in my article 18 Items of Unconventional Thinking, in the chapter on unconventional thinking. Attempting this reverse order of dressing using conventional logic might seem absurd, as it is exceedingly challenging from a traditional perspective and could be considered impossible. To tackle this unconventional concept, one must employ unconventional thinking. Once unconventional approaches are embraced, solutions become apparent. Renaming shoes and socks offers a simple workaround. Call shoes socks and socks shoes. This semantic switch allows for the unconventional act of putting on shoes before socks. In the 1000-year world, where I resided, footwear was singular in form, referred to interchangeably as either shoes or socks. If one desired to wear two pairs, layering was the solution. This allowed us to distinguish the inner layer as shoes and the outer layer as socks. Isn't this a clever way to don shoes before socks? Our preconceived notions often lead us to believe that shoes are sturdy and rigid, while socks are loose and soft. However, shoes can be made pliable, and socks flexible. Consider the soft shoes provided by some hotels, easily accommodating a pair of supple socks. Must shoes be indivisible? Detachable shoe designs offer an alternative. Don the shoes first, then unzip the instep to open the shoe upper, allowing for sock insertion. Close the upper and zip up the zipper. Voila! Shoes before socks. Every phenomenon should be considered within a realm of possibility, 64 possibilities to be precise. Limiting ourselves to familiar knowledge and cognitive boundaries renders many problems unsolvable. For instance, must the China-US relationship solely vacillate between cooperation and confrontation? Surely, there exist 62 other potential approaches. Similarly, must human relationships be confined to just acquaintances and strangers, relatives and foes, or rich and poor? By embracing unconventional thinking, we unlock a myriad of solutions to seemingly insurmountable challenges. Must we adhere to the notion that human society's survival mode must either be capitalism or socialism? Is communism the only future for humanity? Many seemingly unsolvable or difficult problems can only be resolved or answered through unconventional thinking. Knowledge is not power. Xiefeng. October 11, 2017. Knowledge is a combination of the experience and cognition accumulated by our social and productive practical activities. One can possess a wealth of knowledge, which means that they possess the foundation to gain power, but no matter how much knowledge they have, it does not mean that they will ever have power. It is like a library which has abundant knowledge but no power. From the point of storing knowledge, a person's brain is only like a library. Knowledge is Power is from Meditation, written by the 17th century British philosopher Francis Bacon, which teachers delight in using to arouse students' learning interest at school. As a result, students blindly believe that as long as they learn their lessons well, which are set by schools, and as long as they grasp that knowledge, they will have the power to achieve their own pursuits and ideals after they graduate. Knowledge comes mainly from our sense organs. However, in the view of the Greek philosopher Protagoras, human is the measure of everything. This was refuted by Francis Bacon, who wrote that, "It is a great mistake to conclude that our limited sense organs measure all things." In other words, it is wrong to judge and measure all things and all forms from the limited knowledge that our sense organs can provide. Consider a scenario in which a sexy young girl with a middle school diploma is standing next to a more mature, older lady with a doctorate degree, and both are in front of an interviewer. Which one is more likely to arouse the man's rich imagination, alter his mood, and motivate his intense vitality? If it is the young girl, that is because knowledge is not true power, since even beauty can have more power. It is reckless and dangerous to believe that knowledge is power. Not only is it a cognitive misconception, but also a thinking one. For example, to accept that, when a son is grown he takes a wife, and when a girl is mature she finds a husband, as a life knowledge is bound to bring anguish and suffering throughout their whole lives. This knowledge has led people to make such common mistakes for thousands of years, but which accomplish no good. Some more are. There are 3 forms of unfilial conduct, but the worst is to have no descendants. Filial piety is the most important of all virtues. Lewdness is the worst of all sins. He who does not endure hardship cannot stand up to others. Another example is how education and guidance are passed from parents to their children. Can a parent's knowledge conduct and educate their children with both a full range of healthy spirits, minds, and bodies, as well as the ability to lead their own independent lives? Most fall very short. When great changes take place in objective knowledge but we stubbornly insist on applying our traditional knowledge, we will certainly be rebuffed. Look at various religious dogmas and concepts. As they feel a loss of power, they become reactionary, resist social development, and impede natural human liberation. In fact, prejudices and fallacy are knowledge. What are the benefits of such knowledge? None. Our most powerful intellectual force is the power of flexible and tactful thinking. I believe firmly that Albert Einstein's power came not from his knowledge, but from his thinking. How would I perceive the universe if I were riding on a beam of light? Those who read more and get more diplomas and more experience but form rigid ways of thinking have rarely been found to wield much power. Lasting power comes from neither knowledge nor from powerful economic strength and national defense forces, but from sincerity, kindness, virtue, love, faith, and honesty. Sincere deeds have power, kind behavior has power, things of virtue have power, love is a powerful force, honest quality has power, people who keep their words and their faith have power. Conclusion: knowledge must be learned and accumulated, but knowledge has limitation, danger, and can be reactionary. Never believe blindly that having knowledge is synonymous with having power. Rather than spending your precious time on chasing knowledge, you would be well advised to concentrate your efforts on sincerity, kindness, virtue, love, faith, and honesty, for those are the people who will enjoy lasting power. Meanwhile, take pains to develop your way of thinking by never spending time and effort reciting your former knowledge or stubbornly judging and adapting to a changing, living reality with dead, prejudicial knowledge.